USF and Miami. USF also took Billy Napier's early start right off the rails by beating Florida in the swamp on Saturday. And a man called Brendan Bett might have the most expensive loogie that Billy Napier ever saw anyone else spit, if indeed this goes sideways. Because
Did you call him a Florida man, Rece?
He was a Florida man. Florida man spits loogie, gets 15-yard penalty, immediately gives up a big play on swing play, and then a Grammatica comes in to win a game with a field goal, which is a script that's been written many, many times. Maybe they drive even without the 15-yard penalty, but it sort of epitomized, how tenuous things are. Florida's already put out a statement, saying that things are going well, nothing to see here. I'm like, I don't know why we do this. I mean, I know they're mad. Just make the decision at the end, because now you've at least let everybody know that you're thinking about it when you put out these statements. But now it's huge for Florida going to LSU. It's not the way you want to go in there. People would have been patient, but now you've burned up all of the goodwill that you got. And now the question becomes, with 500 record or whatever, when does not quitting become not enough? That was the big thing last year, and I praised them for it. And it is a big stinking deal in this era to keep a team from quitting when it gets sideways, as it did for Florida last season. That's a big deal. Not easy to do. I think Billy's a good coach. But I get the sense, and I'm not even sure it's wrong, not quitting's not enough anymore. You got to not quit and win. And you can't – South Florida's a pretty good team, by the way. But you need to win that game at home, and it's going to have lasting repercussions starting Saturday when Florida plays LSU.
I guess I'll start with Napier. I think the most discouraging part of the loss was just the catastrophic errors that kind of become familiar, right? Remember they had the two guys with the same numbers 2 years ago go out there on special teams. Like to me, as bad as the spitting was, it's the punt that goes over. They've had, just really difficult times on special teams there. And for all of those punitive self-inflicted wounds due to lack of discipline, lack of coaching, you just got to be able to score more against South Florida, right? Like with the weapons they have, they felt really good about the offensive line. DJ Lagway, if you talk to scouts, is the favorite to be the number one pick in 2 drafts. Like, he's resplendently talented. You just got to be able to move the ball more, like that's just it. South Florida is very good. Don't get me wrong. But like, it also wouldn't shock me if they didn't win the AAC either. You know what I mean? I don't think, like, from what I've seen, they played Boise very well. I'm not sure how great Boise is, if we're being honest. Like, I just don't think this is like Urban Meyer's 2004 Utah team juggernaut of a mid-major team. And it, quite frankly, if South Florida had gone there and run their tempo and beaten them with a couple shots that, that offense is good, you say, okay, that's like, they didn't even beat them doing what they were doing. They just sort of let Florida mess around and beat themselves. But especially what stood out to me was the first down pass with like, whatever, it was about 2:40 to go. And they had like the possession that lasted 7 seconds. It might have been a little more than that, but it wasn't much. Now there was a drop in there, like, right, which, this college football is a fragile business. But I just think the inability to score more. What was the final of that game, guys? It was like
18-16. It was 18-16.
18-16, yeah. You can't score more than 16 points at home against a mid-major at this point, as you built methodically like that. Poof, that's tough.
It was they got beat in the trenches. That's the part that I thought was most concerning because they have a schedule coming up at LSU, at Miami, Texas, at Texas A&M, and then Mississippi State, which now is rolling a little bit. But they got those 4, and that's where you just wonder. I mean, a good team could go 2-2, but is that good? That would be a good team. Right now it's 3 of the top 7. So USF controlled the line of scrimmage. I thought the drive where they did not kill any clock at the end when they just needed to get out of there with a win was an example of what has driven Florida fans crazy under Napier. And Watching it happen again, I think just made them irate. No one threw a shoe. Trying to find the positives. There was no shoe throwing. We went with the spitting. It's a new era, different time, going on. But yeah, this is. I mean, these next two games for Billy Napier are if not must win. They've got to be. You kind of need to win one of them, and you're playing number 3 and number 5.
The landmark moment of the shoe throwing of when things turned. I know they went on and played in the SEC championship game that year, but under Dan Mullen, it turned on a shoe throw, and they kind of squandered a chance to win a game at home against LSU. Now, post-spit, they've got LSU again. It's funny how things come full circle, Dan. It just happens that way sometimes.
Interesting about Napier's buyout is there's no offset or mitigation, so he gets it all, which is pretty rare. Like even like Lincoln Riley's like $100 million contract, I think the buyouts are on 80 now. Like if he goes and becomes a $5 million a year NFL play caller or whatever, like Chip did, Chip's making more than that, but like that would get offset from the buyout. So you can make it more manageable. This is like 20 million, I believe 10 million in the first 30 days. I think it's 20.4, 10 million, half of it in the first 30 days. And then they have to just pay the rest, which is, look, I don't care where you are, like that in modern college football. That's just a lot. That's a lot of money. So it would be interesting. A year ago, when we were having this very same conversation about Napier after they got pantsed at home against A&M, was that week 2 or 3 last year? Week 2, right?
Yeah, it was early. I know they'd already gotten clobbered by Miami at home.
Yes, and I think they were.
Yeah.
The difference at Florida now compared to then was Scott Strickland, the AD, was going toward the end of his contract and believed to be, the question was, would he be able to hire a third coach? Since that time, Florida obviously won the national title in basketball. That was Strickland's hire. He just got quietly extended through, I believe, 2030, maybe even 31. So it will be his call. As ADs, you don't get to hire a third coach very often, just as these things work. But the way his contract has now been extended, it would seem to be that. But boy, look, we sat here a year ago and said hard to see Billy Napier getting out of this, and he did at 8-5. Mm-hmm. But he's 20-20 through 40 games, and that is just not what the expectation is at Florida. I will leave with this thought, and this is a topic that will be evergreen for us here on Mondays. If you fire Billy Napier, do you risk losing DJ Lagway? He was very clear about his fidelity towards him. That's certainly something you'd talk about before you make the decision. But I do think that's interesting, right? Like, you're going to start over and you're going to, whoever you're bringing in, now they can get their own guy. They can go find a John Napier or whatever. But I think DJ Lagway is pretty special still. So it's really interesting.
He is, Pete. And I said the same. I'll say the same thing I said a year ago. I hope Billy Napier gets out of this. I think Billy Napier is a good coach. I think he can win in the SEC. They've got to stop having these moments. But whether it's Billy Napier and DJ Lagway or anybody else, if an athletic director makes a coaching decision based on a player, you are doing it wrong. Whether DJ Lagway stays at Florida should have less than zero to do with whether you're keeping the coach. Lagway's a star. There's no question about that. I think he's going to be a great NFL player. As long as he's in college, maybe next year continues to progress. Florida or wherever, Heisman Trophy type guy. It's only a year. It's only a year or two. You cannot make these decisions based on the whim of a player, or I won't even say whim. That's unfair to DJ. The decision of a player and the finite period of time they're in college, it is a massive mistake to decide what you're doing with a coaching future based on what one single player might do. Other than that, I have no opinion on that.
I concur, absolutely. Florida.
Did Lagway try to expand the playoff on you or what?
No,
I'm joking.
I think he's terrific. You should try to keep him. Yeah. And I hope he and Billy Napier, I hope they have all the success in the world this year. This might be their Northern Illinois moment. Who knows?